Welcome back to the Sparta campaign Abridged, where last time I lived the dream of getting to shoot ballistae into a bunch of phalangites, and then I lived my other dream of using phalangites to defend a river crossing, and in both cases, things generally went okay. Which I suppose is a bad thing because we are trying to lose somewhat in this challenge. Syracuse attacked Sparta and failed on that note, mainly due to glitches, all good stuff. But we are gradually being beaten down overall, and you can see that Massalia is in trouble. We've got like 4 armies hanging out around it, and one of them has finally decided to start a siege. We're also running out of money and food, so it's all looking bad. Although on the topic of running out of food, here it's actually working to our advantage at Terrico, as previously mentioned. Our enemies are starving faster than we are. I actually thought maybe I could night attack one of the depleted armies and take them down with what I had, but what I had wasn't very much actually. The balance bar wasn't good enough to just cheekily auto-resolve. That was all I was looking for. So we quit that battle just fine and we can go back into the town. We'll just keep sitting there then, our enemies are falling before us. We then do get an attack at Massalia, and this is precisely the sort of thing I was looking for. So we have 3 armies coming in, the 4th army is just chilling in the background. Takes a while for me to move the mouse because I was clearly on my phone or something during the end turn sequence. They do take quite a long time. Anyway, here we go with this fight. I didn't have any special plans or anything, I just wanted to see a difficult defensive battle. We're super outnumbered, but we've got walls to play with. The thing I wanted to try in the beginning was to see whether we can get a ballista to take out a ladder if we use the first-person firing mode, because this way we might be able to get them to attack the ladder more deliberately and not just miss while trying to shoot at troops and stuff. You might have noted there though, that while you're using the ballista in first-person mode, it still shoots in fire-at-will mode at the same time, so it's just a bit of magic. Ultimately, no, we don't take out any enemy siege pieces, but we do have loads of archers here. And there are only 3 ladders, so by spamming fire arrows everywhere, some of them will accidentally hit the ladders, and we take down 2 of them with this method. And then for the final ladder, I'm going to use the concentrate fire thing, because once we know roughly where the ladder is going to stop, we can concentrate fire on that area. Some of the archers can see that position, it's a bit of an awkward one. But somebody eventually gets a big volley of fire arrows pretty much onto the ladder rather than the unit, and that's going to be enough to set it on fire and secure the wall. I think a few enemies actually did get up there, but nothing significant. They then have a ram for us to deal with. The archers aren't in a very good position to fire at it, or in any position at all to fire at it really. So we can't use them. I had hopes that maybe the oil would come out and set the ram on fire. The oil certainly can destroy a ram, but the oil will only trigger if the ram crew gets too close to the gate, because it's triggered by troops, not siege engines. That means we're stuck here really, we just have to wait for them to open the gate. I noticed something going on in this corner. There was a little splashing particle effect, and I thought maybe the gate is pouring oil, but it's pouring it under the map. There it is again. I think in retrospect, it's caused by the sea level on the map being really close to the land level, so there's actually just sea under the ground that's splashing up through it. Pretty magical. Anyway, we just stand around then and let the gate get opened, absorbing tons of precursor jabs onto the wall, so that's pretty convenient. In the enemy come, and from here we're not going to be doing anything too special. You might note that one of the enemy's 3 armies is not participating in the battle. That's quite generous of them. We'll come back to them later. So yes, now it's a grind. I had put barricades in front of this gate, and we've got a bunch of phalanxes for the enemy to get through, and of course there's going to be plenty of lag and jank. The big downside to putting the barricades up is it prevents me from moving forward and trying to keep control of the gatehouse, so we don't have any particular defensive advantage. There's no oil and towers helping us out. The men still left on the wall are getting absolutely annihilated by the enemy's archers, but I don't mind so much because it's wasting the archers' ammo. Here we are quite a while later actually. The grind is just continuing on. I managed to get some cav outside to harass the enemy. There are a few weak units at the back here we can go after, which won't really impact things at this stage, but it's something to do. There's not much else to click on. Although these cav are actually not especially good, so they did struggle to make progress here. One useful thing we can do with them is kill routing units as they go outside, so I did a bit of that. You can see we're now later on in the fight. The enemy did eventually break through my pile of hoplites, but I had another pile prepared at a secondary position in front of the victory point and in front of a tower. So I don't have to do anything about this, we can just let the enemy go through the town and go fight again. Meanwhile, I'm trying to take out this random isolated unit that's outside of the town with my cav. Thought maybe sandwiching them could be enough, but this is another case where it's an Averni army that's packed out with elite units where like everybody's a noble or a heavy soldier class. So cav charges by garrison cav aren't really going to do all that much. So here's what the fight becomes. Another grindy fight. This one's a bit better for us. We have a tower shooting into it, and we even have that extra piece of wall that allows my slingers to fire into the blob as well. So maybe doing the entire fight at this position would have been better, especially if I'm not going to bother actually holding the gates. Fighting in the unoccupied gatehouse is kind of pointless. We'll keep that in mind for next time. The balance bar doesn't look good, but remember, one of the enemy armies isn't attacking me, so in reality that grind isn't going to be so bad. I tried to bring my cav back inside the town, but the enemy control the gates now, and the boiling oil actually killed most of my cav. It was more effective than I thought. So that sucked. Not that the cav are particularly useful at this stage anyway. I just used them to recapture the gates and some towers, and try to take one of the minor victory points as well. I had some trouble with some of my guys on the wall constantly trying to leave for some reason. I think that bit of wall's a bit strange. Overall though, we don't have to do anything and we can win from here. The enemy pushed us back a little bit, but this opened up more chances for us to hit them with sling stones. And by this stage the enemy are exhausted, they're all going to be on low health, they're being hit by all kinds of things, and unit after unit just routs in that big blob. While I was looking around waiting for something to happen, I noticed another interesting occurrence. There was some sort of rectangular lake in the distance that disappeared whenever you look at it. Now that is spooky. I'm guessing this could be something to do with my earlier theory about the sea level being quite high and it poking through the ground. Well, who knows. And now to look at the stars of the show, the third enemy army that is still doing nothing. So they just got deactivated early on and they never re-aggroed. And I think that might have doomed the enemy because they did make some decent progress. They probably killed more than half of my defending melee troops. If they had another stack of troops to send in as well, they might have actually managed to get all the way through us. But as it stands, their two armies get ground down and destroyed. So now we just wait around for the time limit to run out, essentially, because that other army is not going to do anything, leading to this result. We lost a couple of thousand troops, but the enemy lost like 6,000 troops. They still had like 3,000 more to deploy though. They really might have had a chance, but maybe this was all part of their genius scheme, as we'll see. We can release the captives to make a whole load of money off this. That's like 10 times the amount of money we need to sustain a turn. So that's going to keep our little game going for a while. And here is the genius part of their plan. Immediately after the fight, they come in with the army that they could have used in the previous fight, and the army that was in the previous fight, but didn't participate. So now they have another 2-stack wave to send at us, and we're a lot weaker than before, so maybe this is their chance. I tried again with the first person firing on a ballista to take out those ladders. I think I had better luck this time. I got a whole bunch of hits, maybe because it's a nice, relatively close, straight shot. Only a few of them went wildly off to the side, and I was able to take out one of the ladders using the ballista, so that's nice. The other 2 ladders were destroyed by focus firing them down with our archers. We don't have as many archers as before, but it was enough to get the fire damage we needed, especially by doing some concentrate fire just in front of the ladders, and when the ladders stop for a bit. They sometimes stop because the unit gets too far away when they're pushing them. It doesn't really matter. The ladders are gone, so now the enemy have to try the gates. One thing going for them is that the gate they opened last time is still open because this fight's happening in the same turn. And these reinforcements walk very close to that open gate. You can see I chose not to defend the gate at all this time, and we are not punished. They just walk on by, allowing the towers to keep firing and taking out a whole bunch of them. That's good for us, I suppose. As for what the rest of the enemy are doing, well, so far, Nothing, I'm just running away now, and I'm going to leave them off in the corner and see if they ever bothered to attack me. I decided to use my cav to interfere with this small group of reinforcements. I was able to aggro them onto the cav, and then I thought, well, I'll just walk up and down in front of the towers for a bit, and the towers might eventually kill these units for me. However, it was easier than that, because once my cav went into a hidden position behind these buildings, the aggro was dropped, and those units decided to just stop where they were at that moment, which was beneath my towers. So they're obviously going to die if they don't do anything, and that's going to be a similar story over here, where you can see all of the enemy's troops have just given up on life. They tried a lot less hard than last time, meaning if we just wait around, a load of them will die to the towers, and then we'll win when the timer eventually runs out. So, looks like we better find something else to do, basically. With dinner well on the way, we can come back to see what's happened in the battle. Somehow I lost one of my units of cav. What I think might have happened is the guys getting shot beneath the towers routed, and then the towers kept shooting them and shot a bunch of my cav as they routed right past the cav unit. Well, who knows. In the main army, well, they've taken plenty of casualties, not that many since the towers are back down to their pre-overpowered state. We haven't even taken out the guys closest to the walls. But it's going well for us and not very well for the enemy, suffice to say. And it all leads, of course, to this result. We win. The game can't be bothered so much it doesn't even load the background on some of the UI now. It's really not interested in being played at this stage. Anything to spite me, it might be. It's trying to stop itself from accidentally winning by just going off the rails, because it knows it would satisfy me if it managed to beat me. Anyway, as a result of the battle, all of the things involved just get deleted for whatever reason. So all that's left are these 2 units who I can go out and kill, and the entire invasion force is now gone. We didn't even fight half of it, so that's a pretty good result. We can send our troops back and declare victory. Here I thought this army up here might be the one that didn't fight, but no, that's a different Confederation army. I'm not quite sure why everybody got deleted, but suits me, maybe because they were technically associated with 2 battles being lost in the same turn. I think there's some sort of rule regarding that. This was the point when I thought, hey, wait a minute, isn't the UI actually better with this glitch? I really liked the kind of clean look of the unit cards down there at the bottom, and the general's portrait area looks okay as well without that black box behind it. So something to be learned there. This is a pretty neat looking glitch. Sometimes it looks worse, but I liked it. Unfortunately, after I saved and reloaded the game, the UI did come back, so we're back to the boxes. We get a plain old rebellion here at Genua. There are loads of real trash troops in that army, and I thought we probably would win this, but we have to lose, we've got things to do. So we'll give this one away, meaning a new faction will be created here, and now our little redoubt to the north will be nice and isolated, maybe somebody will attack it. At Terrico, I had a couple of ideas for getting out of our starvation situation. First, I tried making a baggage train, which didn't work. I thought that might replenish my supplies. But ultimately, I found you can replenish them by first going out to sea and then coming back into the docks rather than to the town. For whatever reason, we're no longer taking lack of supply attrition. I guess we're technically not in the region or something, I don't know. But the enemy still are. So this is perfect. We can sit back, even replenish using my now upgraded replenishment, and the enemy will just die. So that's the Terrico situation essentially solved. We finally get attacked at Arretium. We give the battle away with an auto-resolve, but unfortunately they only sack the town, so we've still got the territory. We'll need to work a bit harder to get rid of it. In the next turn, we've got an attack at Massalia, but not a very good one. The Averni send an army to attack that doesn't have enough balance bar to make it in. If we did this manually, we'd probably annihilate them, but I didn't want to, so we're going to take the Dividiet Impera auto-resolve, meaning we will lose absolutely loads of our troops to hold them off. But we've saved some time, and having not very many troops in Massalia might invite a more interesting situation. So now the garrison is much smaller than before, maybe the enemy can deal with us over there. We get attacked at Arretium again, and this time we successfully lose the territory to a new faction being liberated. Very nice. Next, we get another battle at Sparta. The Syracusans are back at it again with their survivors from the previous fight, plus a new stack comes in by sea, and that new stack has loads of good troops as well. So they've got a better chance overall. I didn't want to try the same plan as before though. I thought let's do a similar plan, but a more intense version of it. I call this the hidden mega phalanx strategy. I put most of my troops in the most obscure position in the town, all standing on top of each other. I think if you have multiple phalanxes on top of each other, they can both attack at the same time, and it does become more effective, so that's what I'm testing out here. And the hidden position is just a spot where the AI might never think to look for me. I thought maybe it'll be slightly amusing if it doesn't glitch out, but they just can't find me. They just look around the town and never spot me behind this gigantic building in the corner. So we wait and see what happens. I did have one unit not in the hiding place, simply because I forgot to move them before the fight started. So they can go and defend the entrance to this part of the town, giving the enemy a clue that that's where I am. Unfortunately, when I move them over to this barricade, the enemy first throw a bunch of javelins, which don't do very much, and then they just run away. I was amused by these javelins. They decided to take a screenshot. Basically, the barricade blocks them all, and the barricade has an invisible part above it that blocks them as well. So we saved a few lives there. And what happened is the AI deployed its 2-stack army in a gigantic field battle formation outside the town. The reason for this is they've smelled that I have those units over there in the corner. The archers and cav didn't fit in the hiding place, so I put them on the edge of my deployment zone and then sprinted to the corner. I was able to do this without them being seen because the map is technically foggy because it's raining, so they can't see you in the open. But you know, the AI has hacked our position again, so what I had to do is engage with these units to get rid of them, to get them off the map. I actually put them all in an AI attack group to see what they would do. That means the AI will automatically give your guys attack orders. It really just runs the cav into the front of all of these spearmen, so didn't really lead to anything. I thought maybe it would do something amusing, but not really. So we're just going to get our men killed. That's what we need in this situation. The enemy army will easily focus us down. Although there was a sign that things are starting to go wrong. I spotted this unit walking off into the distance. At first I thought, is this amazing AI? Are they genuinely going to check if I've got something hidden in the other corner as well? That would be incredibly genius AI to even think to do that. But no, it's just the beginning of something a lot worse. The obliteration glitch. They're just going to send units in all directions and the units will lose their cohesion. So it's happened again. I used to think that this glitch was caused by units moving too close to buildings. I have a vague memory actually. In a previous Dividiet Impera Abridged campaign, in one of the battles I spent time forcing this glitch to happen by making units run up and down next to a shack or something. But apparently it can just happen. I think another possible cause is the existence of buildings outside of the movable map area that have collision, and the AI is in some way taking into account the collision of things outside of the accessible area when it path finds, and this somehow obliterates their ability to move. It always seems to happen on siege maps, which often have that setup anyway. So who knows what's really causing it? I suppose somebody's being paid to find that out, so I shouldn't try and test it myself. After a while, everybody's walked over to the corner. I think this links up with an idea I talked about before, where the AI goes to places you've stood for a while in. I had my unit standing in this corner before, and now all of the enemy units have come to stand in this corner. It's kind of like the Sparta witch project over here, They're all like facing away from me in the corner. It's pretty creepy, I don't know what to expect. Some of them have gone further afield on little walks. It's quite nice really. Why do we have to fight? Why don't we just enjoy the countryside? Well, I decided to just give it to them in the end because of a real life reason actually. I didn't have enough time to finish the battle by waiting for the timer to run out. I had to go out somewhere, so I thought, I don't want to leave my PC on. Let's just lose the battle because that progresses the campaign as well. So Syracuse get the consolation victory. I'm just going to pity them. Sparta's gone. It's not actually our real capital anymore because I did move it to Rome. And that's going to focus things down on Rome a bit more as well, which is perfect. So overall, our losing campaign is getting more and more disastrous, but we're getting closer to losing. I wanted to end the campaign with a battle at Rome, and I still have hope that that might happen because Rome is now surrounded by enemy territories. We might be able to get a fight with King Arius. My original objective was to have a climactic downfall so that I could write a third short story about this campaign to round off the two I did already. But it's been really weird and disastrous so far, so I don't feel very inspired and I don't have much material to draw from for a video alongside it either. So that's probably not going to happen. But we might see some more entertaining glitches next time, and if we don't, well, it will just be the final episode and I'll get out of here. And here was me finally remembering to turn off AI campaign movement to speed these turn sequences up. At least I got a good bunch of Twitter browsing done during these waits. You might have seen there, Massalia is under siege again, so this could be a chance for the enemy to close that one out and finally beat me while I'm weak. We'll see if the AI can achieve that or mess up in another interesting fashion in the last and almost certainly final part next time.